evening, everyone. You're back for another evening of Wow, Women of Wisdom. I'm Judge Maybelline from Justice with Judge Maybelline, here with my sisters. They are
Evelyn Braxton of the Braxton Family Value. We're back.
Beverly Hawk, and I'm happy to be back.
Hi, I'm Constance Mora, and I am delighted to be here.
All right, so we bring you a different topic each week, and tonight we want to talk to you about male-female relationships, not lovers, not boyfriends, not girlfriends. Is it possible to have a relationship with a member of the opposite sex and have it as a friendship? Is that a reality? I don't want to start the conversation because I have a lot to say on that subject, and I don't really want to dominate. So I am going to toss it to my sister to the left, Sister Constance, who says we talk too much anyway.
Oh, I don't know where that came from, but anyway, who said that? Hi, okay, well, let's hit it then. I think it is possible that we can have a female can have a male friend and vice versa. And we just have to know the intent. We have to keep it real. We can't lead anyone on. For me, when I've had experiences where it was the opposite sex and I wanted to be their friend and they wanted a little more, I would just let them know, I see you like my brother. And they'd say, your brother? I don't want to be your brother. And that sets it straight right away, because I know if they said to me, I like you as my sister, or I want, you're like a sister to me, that automatically leaves out anything else. That means they're not attracted, and I have to have someone who's attractive in that way. So most definitely, I think we can have male-female friends. What happens also is that they have to have respect for the other person. If they are dating or they are married or whatever, they have to have a total respect. No calling at inopportune hours or over hours or late hours. No barging in and no busybodiness. Mind your business. Keep your eyes on your own plate. And, I like that. You shouldn't be in the marriage and in between that relationship. As long as you know your place and respect. I think it's all about respect, honesty, and the intent, being forward, letting the person know, not later on, oh, this could be something later or whatever, because I've had an experience where, it was a guy that I couldn't stand him. Whenever I saw him, I actually thought like I was going to throw up.
Ooh,
yeah, it was that bad, because he had a irking way. He would just say things that was...
So why is he your friend at all? If it's somebody...
Well, wait a minute. Let me finish. He wasn't my friend. He was a friend of my friend's.
Okay.
But then I needed him. I was going to college. I was writing a paper. He was going to law school. He knew a lot about political science. And I don't want to make this all about me, so I'm going to finish this really quick. So he knew about that, and so my friend, when I called him to help me, he said, well, why don't you call D? And I said, oh, no. He said, well, he can help you. And I was like, oh. So I called him, and he said, hey, look, we're having a barbecue. Why don't you come on over? We'll hang out a little bit. You can meet my friends, and then I'll explain the whole thing to you later. It was one of the best papers I ever wrote. We wind up getting engaged.
Oh.
We didn't get married.
I thought it was a friendship.
No, it wasn't a friendship. He was somebody that I didn't like.
Oh.
But you grew to
But you
like
grew
him.
to
That's what I'm saying.
more
So
than that,
exactly. So, but when it's a friend, it's the intent in it that if it's a friend, and I've been friend for years. We went to junior high, high school, whatever, or even a new friend. New friends are a little tricky, but just putting it out there on the table, You're putting on the table and being honest about it.
Well, you said something. I don't want to make this all about me.
Mm-hmm.
I know someone who does say, what about me? and wants to make it all about me.
That would be
So
me.
what
That
about
would be
you?
me.
Yes.
What about me? That would be me.
Yeah.
For God's sake.
Okay, it's on you.
But I do think that you can be the best of friends, just friends, male and female. I have a friend that I grew up with, and we're like brother and sister. No one crosses the line. I don't think about it. He doesn't think about it.
You don't know what you're thinking.
No, he doesn't think about it.
Okay.
And he tells me about his girlfriend, used to, get a little older now. He told me about his girlfriends, and I would give him advice and what have you. I told him about my ex-husband. We were dating at that time. And he gave me good advice. Just the best of friends. And so I really think that's possible. You don't have to jump into bed with your friends. Why sleep with your
shouldn't jump into
friends?
bed with your
Because
friends.
well, there's a
You
lot
don't
of
have
people that jump into bed with their friends.
And then it becomes a different
And
relationship.
it's another
changes.
relationship,
Right.
and it changes the relationship.
right.
Changes.
But when you are strictly like brother and sisters, you don't think about that, and I think it's possible.
Well, I mean, you
Maybe
guys keep
because
saying
I
like
lived
you
it.
keep saying like brother and sister, but you do know there are some brothers and sisters who have relationships that's more than brother and sister.
Well, I'm not
It's a little
talking
bit
about the
incestuous.
dysfunctional people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're not
Yeah,
talking
that's a
about
whole
I mean,
nother
we all are
subject.
dysfunctional in some kind of way, but I'm
speak
not
for
talking
yourself.
about that, but except for you.
That's
but
right.
anyway, but it is possible.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, I think it is.
What about you, E?
Yep.
Beverly, what you think?
I know it's possible because I've experienced it. Yes, it's not for everyone.
No.
It's not everyone can, like you said, you can't, some people don't know their boundaries.
Right.
And so therefore they're not able to be just your friend. But I have experienced over the years. I have a friend that's been my 30 more years, and people see him. I saw your brother the other day because we've always maintained that kind of relationship. Neither one of us has ever crossed that line. And there's been times when, I mean, he's been around, you know, my kids were smaller. He was raising his daughter. I was there for him. He talked to me about relationships. He knew about my relationship. I even was in a relationship at the time. And he was a little at first, but after a while, he could see it was nothing but a friendship. It was a friendship. It was a
So
true
that
friendship.
means that he approached you at one time?
Well, no, not my friend, but the man I was dating at the time.
Oh,
He had
oh.
questions.
Okay.
Sure
He
what it
had
was.
questions. Yeah, because he realized we were good friends. But you know, it's a fine line, and you know, once you cross that line, the friendship part ends.
I think so.
I don't think it's a. I don't
And
think
it's a
different.
fine
I don't
line.
even
So
think
if you
they're-
keep it at a certain level with certain boundaries, and you're sharing what you're doing is share like you would with a female with a female or a male with a male. You're sharing your life with them. That's what you do with friends.
Absolutely.
And I think it's very possible for a woman, to have a friend that's a male, and it's not a romantic entity at all.
Absolutely.
Well,
Well, Judge Maybelline
yes.
is itching to say something. Go ahead, girl. What?
I always got a lot to say. Come on now. I don't even try to hide that. I know for certain that it's possible, but we kept talking about boundaries, so that's what I was going to talk about in order to make it happen and to allow it to stay that way. I have a male friend, and I'll call his name because everybody knows he's my friend and knows about him that know me, just like they know you all, they know him. His name is Henry. Henry and I have been friends since junior high school. And so and it was never platonic. It's been platonic since junior high school. It never went to romance. It never tried to go to romance. Neither of us was interested in each other romantically. As a matter of fact, we tried to help each other find somebody else for each of us romantically. He's been through 3 or 4 marriages. I've been through one, and of course other relationships. But the way it remained that way is that it just happened. We were not attracted to each other.
Exactly.
So if you're attracted to someone and you know that, and you try to pretend like, oh, I'm just gonna make him my brother, you're gonna make him your brother because he's not attracted to you, it's not working that way.
No.
Both people have to be honest about the fact that I'm not attracted to you in that manner. I'm attracted to you for your personality, for who you are, other than your anatomy. And it has to be clear that that's what the attraction is. So we vacation together, we take trips together, we take it with the wives, with the girlfriends. He and I have gone on places together just alone. All of our classmates from junior high and high school know that we are buddies. When we go to class reunions, it's like, where's Henry? It's like, he over there, you know. So, and it remains. My sisters, my brothers, all of them know that Henry is my friend. And as we began to have children, both of us, our children know that we're friends. And so
Right.
now for my children, he's Uncle Henry. For his children, I'm Auntie Maybelline. And that's the way it has always been for over 40 something years. So it could definitely happen. We borrow
Absolutely,
money from each other. As a matter of fact, speaking of friendships, he's one of the few persons in my life that other than a family member, that I have ever loaned money to and didn't get a written contract. And didn't have to sue them, and didn't have to cuss them out, and didn't have to lose the friendship.
All of the above.
It's a matter of oh, that's another topic, loan and money. It's a matter
we'll do
of
that
it's a
next.
matter of integrity.
That's
It's a
right.
matter of integrity in terms of the friendship. You being honest with each other, being open with each other, not trying to hide anything. When you meet, when I met my husband, I started dating him. I said, you know what? We good friends and we in love and all of that. But there's two people in my life other than my family members you have to meet before we can make sure this marriage is gonna work. And that is my friend Henry and my best girlfriend Lacey. I said, cause I'm gonna tell you something. When one of them call me, other than my family members, if they call me in need, I'm answering that need.
That's right.
And Henry can
Right.
call me any time of day or night. Lisa can call me any time of day or night. We need to get that straight now. And when they call, I'm going to respond. So I need you to meet him so you all get that established and get it very, very clear. And that's what I have done with every man that's been in my life and likewise with him. And then you have to respect the other person's mate. What usually happens is people don't respect the other person's mate. They decide, I don't like her. Well, he likes her. So it's not about, he's not asking your permission to be in love with this woman that he's with and not asking you to like her, but you definitely have to respect her.
Yes.
And that's how
I agree.
relationships work, I believe.
Definitely.
I
Yeah.
agree.
And if they're really your friend, they should honor that and do, regardless if they like the person or not. As they're really your friend, they'll honor that. They'll honor that and respect your mate. I mean, they will do that because you figure you've established this relationship maybe before you've had your husband or your girlfriend. So therefore, once you get in the relationship, you've been through so many. I think in so many instances, you've been through so many trials and tribulations or what have joys and with those friends that you know who they are.
Yep.
We know, it's
Absolutely.
uncle. My kids call him uncle. His daughter is my, I'm Auntie Bev. All of that. So I think if someone's really your friend, they will honor that because they value your friendship.
Yeah.
They will honor that and respect them.
Friendship means that doesn't mean that we agree on everything, right?
Absolutely.
Sometimes people think you can't be friends with people unless you agree on everything. I don't want anybody to be my friend and to just be a yes-em.
Yeah.
And know and agree on everything. Friends help to make you a better person.
Absolutely.
So they don't just allow you to do what you do and don't ever call you on it. Friends check you when it's necessary to be checked. Friends sometimes even argue with you, and I think that's when people don't think it can be a friendship because friends have disagreement. Now we have disagreement with him and any other friend I have, including all y'all. We have disagreement.
Absolutely.
Well,
You know
yeah.
that.
That's
yeah.
another issue.
Well,
Personality.
we know about that part.
Well,
But it's all good.
personalities are very, very important, in a friendship. That I respect you and you can be yourself, but at the same time, I have to be allowed to be myself. So we have to understand the little quirks in one another and things like that.
Ooh, the quirks.
Sometimes it's quirks, sometimes it's OCD, sometimes it's ADD, sometimes whatever it is. Sometimes it's a little, what they call
Sometimes
that?
it's just a D.
Sometimes it's just a D minus. How about that? But as long as the heart is there, a good heart, the intention, it's all about their love. So that's where unconditional love comes in. I know we went from the can friends be friends with the opposite sex.
But a male friend of yours, it is unconditional love because it's a different kind of love. It's just like loving your sisters and brothers. The difference is with your sisters and brothers, you don't get to choose them.
Exactly.
And you have to love them. But with your male friend, you get to choose that person as a friend and vice versa. And then you learn to love that person as a friend. And it's not the romantic love or the eros love. It's agape love. It's the love coming from the heart.
Well, suppose you have your spouse. Your spouse, they're very uncomfortable with the relationship with you and your best friend, the male
Yeah.
or female. And he or she says, listen, I don't want him or her in our life. What will you do? Will you continue to allow him or her to be your best friend, or will you let it go? And the reason why I'm asking you this, it's because sometimes it will cause a conflict, deep conflict between
The relationship.
you, your spouse, the
Spouse,
relationship. What do you do with that?
Well, I have an answer, but I'm gonna let Beverly start.
Well, bottom line, your husband, your wife has to come first. To me, they have to come first. What I would try to do, me personally, I would try to make some kind of amends, try to make it work, but you can't force people to feel what they're not feeling. You can't force people to think what you're thinking. But at the same time, I think I would make an effort to see if I can resolve that. They may not really like each other, but I would try to make some effort. But your husband and your wife, what can I say? They come first. They come first.
But if you've, all right, first of all, it depends on how long the person has been your friend. If that person was in your life as your friend before you met your spouse and before you married your spouse, that person should have been introduced to your spouse long before and should have been
Absolutely.
introduced to your spouse during the relationship, during the courtship. And by then they can form a relationship. Now, people don't like each other because of different personalities. And so their personalities may not mesh, and the two of them don't care to be in each other's company. That's fine, and they don't have to be in each other's company, and you have to respect that. But I don't think, well, I ain't no thinking. I'm just going to tell you, you're not going to tell me that I got to give up my friend because I'm now in love with you. That's why I was saying when I first met my spouse and it got to the point where we were in love and it was clear that we were about to be married, I said to him, there are two people in my life you need to meet first. And you need to get acquainted with them and to know them, because he had already met all the family members. Because remember, our spouses frequently don't even like your family. They don't like your sister, they don't like your brother, they don't like your mother, they don't like your father. And it's about you liking them, and then you have to, try to weave the relationship together. But I don't think your husband, your spouse, should dictate to you that because I don't like John, your friend, you can't have anything else to do with John. Not gonna happen with me, because I'm not throwing away my friends because of a spouse. Here's one of the main reasons you don't want to do that. Friends are there forever.
Spouse coming.
Spouses come and go.
Yeah, yeah.
That's just the reality of life.
Right, but see, the
Spouses
point
come
I was,
and go.
and
You
it's
don't
true.
know when they
It's
will
true.
tickle and
Help
get out
us,
of you.
Holy
true.
Ghost.
But I have to say this, and I would, maybe it was misunderstood what I said here, because what I'm saying, yes, your husband and wife comes first. You try to resolve what you can, but I don't see. I would just say, okay, you're no longer my friend. So when you were in the picture long before he came along.
That's right.
So
and
I'm
probably
saying
won't be there when he leaves.
exactly, and that's exactly what happened. So
Deal with people.
you have, yeah. I mean, and so for me, yes, you have to acknowledge the fact that your spouse is having a problem with you having this relationship. That you must acknowledge. Also, you must also,
Then you say,
I
"Get
think
over
for me, but see, people don't get over things just like that.
I know.
But I'm saying I would make the effort. I would not just give up on and say, you need to get to know them, or if you really, have them around, so you'll realize this is a relationship I've had. This is a major part of my life. This is a good friend here. I don't think I would be a person to say, okay, we're overdone because I'm married. He don't like you. No, I'm not doing that, because I feel like I have a mind of my own too.
Right.
I have a heart of my own
Yeah.
too,
Right.
and I don't think anyone can dictate that for me. But I think I would make a honest effort to try to make that change. Not that they may end
So
up
what do
being
you
good
mean-
friends.
What are you meaning when you say make an honest effort to try to make the change?
Well, in anyway,
to try to make them like each other?
no.
Okay.
Not like each other, but they can resolve being around each other. Let's say if there's some situation where your kids are having
Don't come
something.
around. I got a lot of places I can go without you with him. So you ain't got to be around him. I respect you and not have him around.
Okay,
you.
Right. Well,
let
I
me give
think-
you an example.
Okay, after your
Could I
example,
give you an
wanna say
example?
something.
Yeah. Give us
Let's say if it was you have your kids, they're small, they're having a birthday party. This has been Uncle so-and-so for how long? Okay, probably all their lives. Now, okay, so now the situation comes up, and what you want to say is, now he can't come to the party? Can't you just put up with him coming to the party? This is Uncle so-and-so,
Good
my
example.
spouse.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying, we're not trying to make them friends, but what?
They should respect each other. It's like
Yes.
because
Yes.
in a lot of ways, it's like divorced parents. When parents divorce each other and they have children, when it's a children's affair and both parents have the right to participate in their child's affairs and to be in their child's life. So uncles have a right to be in their child's life. I mean, in their niece and nephew's life. But there are sometimes, because you have family members, uncles for real, blood uncles and aunts that your spouse just can't handle. I went through that. My husband decided that he didn't really care for my brother, so he didn't come around. And it's like, okay, when I go to my family, you go your way and I go mine. But because you don't like my brothers and you don't, they were as strong as he was, and it was all a personality issue. So he didn't care to be around them too much. Such is life. I'm going to my family. I'm going to be around them. When I go, you can stay and go wherever you want to go. My family is coming to my house. They knew to respect him, to always treat him as the man of the house. I would not allow anybody to disrespect him, or I wouldn't allow him to disrespect them. But they're coming to my house. If you want to sit in the corner while I socialize with my family for Thanksgiving, you sit in your corner. But they over here and we gonna get it together. Now that's my attitude.
Right. Well, I wanted to speak to what Beverly was saying.
Quietly.
Oh, I'm
softly.
sorry. Yeah, I don't want to be so
Quietly
quiet.
and
Because that's,
softly.
I'm trying to,
Speak to what Beverly was saying.
you know.
My mama
How
tried to
about that?
teach me to
Okay,
talk
so
like
let me
that.
just
It never
tell you this,
happened.
okay? To speak to what Beverly was saying, I understand. It's like being the peacemaker. This isn't before me. It's in my path. So somehow or another, it has to be resolved. It's conflict resolution. Whatever it takes. Not that they have, I understood the situation, when you already have the family in operation. I totally get that. But and then I get your point too. You do what you do, and I do what I do. But there has to be a peace in the middle. He has to be able to give and take too. It has to be that give and take in all situation, a compromise. It's like you said with divorce, like with marriage, like with any relationship, it's a compromise. And if I'm with a person who can't compromise, that makes me kind of think about things. Maybe we need a little going to the table, going to the what is that,
Absolutely.
the therapist, or whatever it
Conciliation
takes.
therapy.
Yeah, because maybe there's some issues of low self-esteem there, or
Right.
some issues of
Insecurities,
insecurity,
jealousies.
Exactly. So you get a chance to see all this before you really get involved. Like you say, look deep before you leap.
That's it.
Before you
Look
get
deep
involved.
before you leap.
Right? Because I'm looking at your friends too, and if they ain't that cool, then I gotta consider that also.
That's right.
But now suppose they reach down and bring out a biblical scripture on you
What's
when
that?
you get married, forsaking all
Others. That's what he said. Your husband
No,
has to
it didn't
come
say that. It
first.
didn't say that. It didn't say forsaking all others. That's what you misquoted.
Well,
It did not
whether it's
say that.
misquoted or
That's
not,
not what the Bible said.
whether it's misquoted or not, this is what a lot of relationships and preachers, okay, they base your marriage upon, okay, that you forsake all others. It's the relationship is between two people and not three or four. Or families. So what do you do with that? That's
You,
all
you
I'm trying
look
to
deep
find out.
before you leap, and you find out if this person has insecurities, jealousies,
Yeah.
inability to
That's
get
right.
along with others, personality conflict,
Yeah.
just have problems. And
Yeah.
if you look deep before you leap, you'll figure that out and you'll leave him on out there. You wouldn't bring him into your family and into your house anyway. Because, people have, one of the best things in life we have to do is learn how to get along with people who are different. That's why you have racism. That's why you have sexism. That's why you have hatred for gays. And that people don't learn how to get along and respect those who are different. And it's just different, not just difference in colors, but difference in personalities, different in the way you think, different in the way you act, different. My family, we so strict on stuff like you got to wash the dishes a certain way. And if I come to your house and dishes not being washed the way I wash dishes, they would say, "You don't know how to wash dishes?" Yes, I do know how to wash dishes, just because I don't wash them the way you do it. And that's what creates the problems. And Christians are the worst in not learning to respect people and their differences for who they are. Everybody doesn't think like you, act like you, walk like you, talk like you. But we have to respect them. It's as simple as that. And the Bible didn't say forsaking all others, because it says clinging, leaving mother and father
And
and
clinging
clinging
to
to
your
your
wife.
husband. That is because you have to respect that man as your husband or that woman as your wife, not your mother and father, and trying to keep living like you lived in their home. You all have to make your home together. But it doesn't mean that you give up all your friends and all your relationships. Look deep before you leap. Okay? And that'll solve that problem.
It has to be legit. How much say too legit to quit?
Too legit to
Well,
quit.
quit if they're not legit, because you don't need to bring all that baggage and drama and excess, all of that, always confrontation, always
Yeah.
strife and all that misery. No, I'm too past that, been there, done that.
Yeah.
Look deep before you leave.
A man that can't, it's like, nowadays when your children are gay or homosexual or lesbian or somebody has autism or somebody has transgender, it's so many things going on in life and so many differences in people that we have to learn to accept people and their differences. So your spouse not liking that man, that's because he's jealous probably. But now you can handle that, and he may have a right to be jealous because that's when we talked about again. It's the way you deal with the person. Now, if when this man comes around, that's your friend, that's supposedly your friend, but you always paying him more attention and doing more for him than you do your spouse, then there's a problem with that
there's a
because
problem.
you're not respecting your spouse. Or if you always, he calls and say, I'm coming over, you're going to cook my spaghetti that you used to cook for me when we was kids, and da-da-da-da, and you'll go jump in the kitchen and cook it. But when your spouse say, cook my favorite dish, you talk, you better get it yourself. So you have to not make your spouse feel that you're treating this man better than you treat him. And that usually is what causes the conflict, is because just like spouses don't like pastors, because a lot of women, they just stupid when it come down to the pastor. They always going home talking about the pastor. My pastor said, my pastor. Well, your husband tired of hearing you praising your pastor all the time.
Absolutely.
So it
I
depends on
concur
how
with
you
that one.
treat the man that's your friend, and you have to make sure that your husband always knows, or your mate or your spouse or the man that's the number one in your life always knows that he is number one.
Yes.
And making him
That's
feeling
important.
safe
Yeah.
and secure
Right.
in your relationship, like you would with him. If he had another woman, a friend.
Yeah, that's all you got to do is put the shoe on the other foot.
Yeah,
That's all you have to
But
do.
sometimes if they looking
Absolutely.
good or whatever, they looking at him from the outside and not looking at that heart thing that they have connected. The woman or the man can't help it if he's handsome, and the woman can't help it if she's beautiful or whatever. But just as long as they know
you're
their
right.
place, and it goes right back to
Now you
respect.
see that? You
goes
missed that.
back to
You missed
respect.
that.
Because I was on a roll. Y'all know me. If I don't stay on the roll, I will lose and have to go over here writing stuff. How
No,
about
when
that?
you said the woman can't help it, she's beautiful, and she says, "Yeah, I hear you.
Like
You
me.
know about that, like me."
Because she's perfect.
Little
Well, it's a
thing,
mighty
thing.
poor frog
I
who
love
doesn't
it.
praise his
She's
own pond
perfect.
people.
I can't. If
How
it's
about
like that, it's
Yeah,
like
she
that.
has
I
no
love
lack
it.
about
That's
loving
right.
herself.
Right.
That's right.
But that's what the Bible
Well,
says.
we
You
have
got
to
to
love
love
yourself.
others.
You have
as
to love
you
others. Love
yourself.
yourself.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I'm not mad at you for loving yourself.
I'm
Girl,
telling you.
I'm not mad with me either.
That's what I'm talking about. You better breathe.
That's right, girl.
Mighty poor frog who doesn't praise his own
That's
pond.
Thank
right.
you.
That's right.
All right. So that's phrase right there. Mighty poor frog, don't praise his own pond. You have to make sure that you're not praising that friend more than you praising your spouse.
That's right.
Absolutely.
So he's
right.
feeling like he's the frog outside of the pond.
That's right. That's
I
right.
love my lily pad.
She.
All right. So
That's you.
now everybody can't have a friendship with the opposite sex.
That's
Yeah.
And you have to be honest about it. So just because it is our opinion that you can, you have to figure this thing out for yourself,
Absolutely.
because you really have to maintain the boundaries. But if it's a true friendship, it won't be hard to maintain.
Not at all.
At
No.
all.
Yeah.
Because it's just like your sisters and your sister, your brother, and other friends in your life. So
Right.
make sure that you're not settling, quote unquote, and trying to call a person a friend because you're really attracted and they don't like you and you want to keep them in your life. So you decide, can we just be friends?
Yeah. Whoa.
No.
Dangerous. Very
No.
dangerous.
That's
No.
dangerous.
Right.
It
So
is.
that's not what we're talking about.
No, that's not what we're
All
talking
right.
about.
All right, until next time, we are the Women of Wisdom signing off.
Constance Moore, it was so good to be with you today.
Evelyn Braxton, I've had a ball.
Beverly Hawk will see you again, and look before you leap.
If you're going to say it, baby, you got to say it right.
Okay.
Look deep before you
And I
leap.
read the book. Okay.
We love you.